semi-finals if he can win this match.
He certainly felt the strain here physically in some of these matches that he's played. We've seen Daniel Vacek actually administering massage on the changeovers, trying to keep him fresh. And boom goes the dynamite. Up in the air and up goes the speed gun. Vapor trail behind that one. Whew.
Goodness me, that was an impressive opening service game.
First game.
Well, now's a good time for us to check in with our courtside commentator. Knows a little bit about the sport. Hall of Famer Todd Woodbridge. Good evening, Todd.
Good evening, everybody. Jim, Mark, it's beautiful down courtside. It's actually a little cooler than it's been all week here in Sydney. You almost need to have a light jacket on, so that changes conditions for players. It's very pleasant. And I'm looking forward to this, listening to all the previews. And when you talk about weapons, and Renzo was talking about forehands, those forehands in that first game were a statement from Machac.
Neither of these two yet with a career title. This man a runner-up in Geneva, and Cobolli a runner-up in Washington against Sebi Korda. Loves the big time, loves the main courts. There's a scary talent. I did say there was going to be some unreal shot making. That wasn't bad. Third rounds at the majors for Cobolli at the AO at the start of the season, and then at New York, of course, Machac getting through to the fourth round at the US Open. Deepest run that he's made so far at a major. Todd, that reminds me of your forehand.
Very much so. No, being facetious, obviously. Just have a look at that. The racket head speed through impact is just so impressive, and he's really confident.
And Todd, that's going to shake you a little bit to your foundations when somebody comes out and starts playing as fast as Machac has.
Well, it has already. I mean, these are two break points that Cobolli's facing, and that error there was just because of that. I'm a little unsure if he realizes what he might need to do just at this point, and that's what you're talking about. Because the game plan kind of gets blocked for a moment.
Well, that is a breaker serve that he's earned. some of it psychologically because of just how well he's hit the ball out of the gates here. He is in absolute mint condition. Maybe he's playing catch-up physically, but his stroke making and his shot making is absolutely out of the top drawer. He had a match against Alcaraz in Shanghai. We've said it previously this week, where he averaged 85 miles an hour, 136 Ks on his forehand. You do not see that very often consistently throughout the course of a match. Alcaraz said afterwards, I thought he would give me a window at some stage in this match. He never did. Cobolli is trying to defend his side of the court with a bit of depth, but he's overhit a couple of returns.
He's red hot. You just have to ride the wave if you're Cobolli, and you hope that Machac comes down off of this peak. He's currently sitting atop. Look at that placement right inside the line. Monster forehand again.
Just doing everything he can just to stay in a rally, blocking that one back. And it's interesting to listen to Machac talk about his tennis. He's so confident about every single part of his game. I think I can do everything well. I serve well, and if my serve isn't working well, I'm great off the ground, and if that isn't working, I'm happy to come in.
Well, if there's an area, though, that it goes off, it's right there on the second serve, and I think you have to take advantage of that. If you're Cobolli, really got to focus and hone in on that, because the service motion sometimes can get out of sync. That's the one thing that you got to hope and wait for. But he does have a bit of good pop on the first. He's good pace here early tonight.
Yeah, spot on as ever, Todd. Good pace on the serve and a little bit of precision as well, and the perfect start for Tomas Machac. 3-love. Well, it's a quick start for Tomas Machac as we quickly take you outside, and we're going to take you over to Manly Wharf. Haven't had an opportunity, unfortunately, to nip out there, but certainly when you take a little look at these visuals, there's a great opportunity to get over to one of the most picturesque spots here in Sydney. That wouldn't be me on the surfboard, I can assure you. I would be under that wave, desperate for air, but they make it look a lot simpler. That, though, I can do. Stroll along the sandy beaches, grab a little flat white, and enjoy the sunsets as we are right now.
It was fun to see the Italian team riding the waves in a wave pool earlier this week. That was nice.
Bit of tennis art for you, Jim.
It's like he's trying to saddle a horse there. That's impressive. Machac has a lot of power. You know what he also possesses is a lot of flexibility. So like someone like Novak Djokovic, when he goes into the corners and plays defense, he can play out of almost a full split. He's not just strong with his legs, he's also got a lot of flexibility. That makes him tougher to get the ball by. More court coverage available for him. This is almost like Mahova just passed the baton in the hallway and said, hey, I played great. Just keep going. Here's the mojo. He's sure he made that one. That missed by nothing. Everything looking good to him.
First bit of time on the ball, and you can see what Cobolli can bring to proceedings if he's given a chance. Gave him a little bit of a fake toss there, tossed it down the left-hand side and then whipped it up the tee. Undeniable logic at times when you're hitting the ball as well as Machac to not give your opponent any sort of opportunity to find their rhythm, just to keep them uncomfortable out here.
Especially with a break in hand. Serving well. Machac has made 7 out of 10 first serve so far tonight.
In a bruising battle, Machac in his opening match. Won the opening set on a breaker, lost the opening set on a breaker, and then ended up losing the third 6-4, but then turned things around again. Hologic in another 3-setter. Always an interesting discussion, sorry Jim, about unforced errors in tennis. What contributes to an unforced error? Because you can see Cobolli at the start of this match trying to find that length, and he's just nicked it over the baseline 3 times now. But if you drop it short, he knows what he's going to be on the receiving end of.
Exactly. Yeah, he's forcing it right now because Machac hasn't inspired him to do so with the sensational start. How do you get this return into the backhand corner? Mahac's backhand's excellent, but it's not as lethal as his forehand. That's how you start the point if you're Cobolli. Machac is just, he's feeling it, Todd. He's going for broke on all kinds of shots.
Yeah, sure is. So he's really stopping Cobolli getting into any rhythm at all. One of the things that Cobolli wants to do is use his forehand, but the thing with him is if you can keep him running onto his forehand, he's nowhere near as good as if he can move to his left and get set using the inside-out ball. But you can't keep playing it at that level, Jim. I mean, he's playing whatever you want to call it, max out, and you just can't. You have to bring it back somewhere, and if you hang in, he will start to make a few errors, and the adjustment will come. That's what impressed me about Cobolli in his matches so far. He's got a very good temperament. He is patient.
Similar end to that particular service game as it was last time around, with a big first serve getting it done for Machac. She leads 4-1. Look at his serve here, Todd. It's a platform serve, no back movement of the back foot there to lean in. Just a perfect ball toss just inside the baseline.
It's a funny, that looks good there, but just before he starts to land, it's a funny bit of motion there. It almost as if his back gets caught in a funny angle. And sometimes on the second serve, it's as if the body weight's going backwards and not into the court. So there's just a little funkiness right about there. And I think that's where he gets out of sync, particularly on the second serve. The arms and the legs don't always match. When they do, it's great. It's something to keep an eye on with him.
Both these two with a love of football. Machac falling in love with tennis when his sister was playing, knocking balls against a wall, but at around 10 he went to Prague once a week to train, but then between 12 and 15 lost a bit of interest in the rectangle and wanted to become a footballer. But then after some of the top Barcelona players left, Neymar, Suarez and Messi, he lost interest in watching Barcelona in 2014 and 15 and ended up picking up his rackets again. Cobolli, a big Roma fan. They're sitting in the middle of Serie A at the moment, not having the greatest season. He was a very good right back, I believe.
See that play there from Machac, that's the one I really like for him against Cobolli. If he can get one into the backhand corner and get Cobolli running on, we'll see here he hits the forehand and comes out of it. By that I mean he comes up and out early, and this is where he loses control. Watch the body. The upper half doesn't stay through the shot before the ball's gone, and he tries to lift it. That's a bit of a problem area on hard court for him.
He was right there. And that could have been an amazing steal to get to love 4 to it. That was a look at the defensive capabilities of the Czech player. The slide here. Another good one. And great anticipation here. Just couldn't quite center it. So 15-30.
That was the perfect return from where he found himself. Loads of height over the net. Cobolli not coming in, but he didn't hit it that hard, so he bought himself an awful lot of time to get back to the middle of the court to try and cover the inside in that was coming. And again, the perceived threat, the real threat, to be fair, that we've seen in the opening 6 games, contributing to that double fault from Cobolli, and Machac 5-1 up.
Just 18 minutes. This is a sprint of an opening set for Team Czechia. This is where the scoring system can be meaningful, because 6-1 counts the same as 7-6. So for Cobolli, he needs to get the whiteboard out, the eraser, and just forget about this one if it goes 6-1, which is the likely destination.
Love 15.
Over 50% of his first serves have not come back into play.
Good. Misses wildly on that forehand, but his forehand's been so damaging, and it has been just huge. Look at the lift in speed. 8 Ks faster tonight compared to the other matches he's played here. So he is taking opportunity for aggression at every turn. And he has put himself in a winning position very, very quickly. I haven't seen a 20-minute opening set in men's tennis in quite some time.
And he came away with a point, but I wonder whether he is just thinking to himself, what do I have to do to win a point easily? I mean, the perfect return. And he still had to come up with 2 fantastic shots to win the point.
Advantage, team chicken.
He's moved his serve around beautifully, loads of variety, nailed it in the corner of the corner.
Yes. Advantage, team chicken.
I still haven't seen a men's set end in 20 minutes in quite some time, but this one has a chance to end in 22 now. Make it 23.
In a sport where perfection is rare, you've just seen it delivered in 23 minutes. Tomas Machac, absolutely invincible at the moment, 6-1. Team Italy with it all to do. And honestly, that's why he's so impressive to me. I like Cobolli's game, but at the moment he's getting eclipsed by the absolute greatness of this man. But so often when you have this many shots in your repertoire, you have a strategy issue, but Machac doesn't.
Oh, he's seeing it clearly, isn't he? He's somehow boiled it all down. You're right, he does have a lot of options. goes Hollywood on that forehand and nets it. And Cobolli insisting on the first 3 shots into the backhand corner, which I think is probably the best idea right now. Just keep the ball into the backhand corner. I didn't like this idea, even though it extracted an extravagant unforced error. He was at risk, and he'd lost control of the point by going to the forehand. If he wants control, he needs to see the two-hander of Machac a lot more than he's seen it in the opening set. And that's not normally the advice that I think most of us think is ideal. We are firm believers in this comms box. You've got to go to the strength to go to the weakness, but his strength is so good right now, you might just avoid it for the minute.
14, 15.
As much as anything, it's a rhythm breaker. If you can keep the ball in Machac's backhand corner for a couple of games and deny him the pleasure of hitting forehands, you might shake him out of the zone that he's been in.
I'll tell you what, that was an interesting little segment there, Todd. Cobolli looking down the court after the little kicker out wide to go up game point.
Yeah, absolutely it was. That's one of the things with Cobolli, as I mentioned earlier. He's got a fabulous temperament, and he hung in, survived match point down against Hubert to come through and win 6-2 in the third. And I like that part of what he was doing there. You know, he got blown away in the first set, but he was looking to see whether the man up the other end was coming off his levels. And I think he might have, just ever so slightly. But one of the things I wanted to talk about very quickly is it's reiterated a point that Alex de Minaur made to me about this current era and modern game, is that to be successful, you need to go and be big. You need to be consistent and big. You can't just sort of be a counter-punching player. And that's what Machac has certainly done over the last 12 months. He's gone from being very solid to being really big, and it kind of matches what de Minaur's been able to do in his game also. And then you compare the two. Cobolli, very solid at the moment, but he doesn't have as big to be able to do the damage that we're seeing Machac do.
Snaps off a fast return for the first time.
13-15.
Just not allowing Cobolli to get any sense of a pattern of play coming at him. Cobolli can't believe that it's in.
He's saying that the mark has got a gap.
Nothing that the umpire can do. Despite looking for perfection, it will not come even with electronic line calling systems.
Let. First service.
Just not able to extend the rallies when he had a chance there, and that the service games are flying by for Machac. He's barely having to do anything. Look at the average shots of the rally when Machac is serving less than half. And Cobolli, he's having to grind, and he's not able to extend the points when the Czech player is serving. So that's an area for growth for Cobolli, is to try and get some more physicality into Mahac's service games. Nothing you can do when Machac is acing you, but when you hit the second serves, you've got to make them work.
Beautiful to watch. It really is. There's so much great rhythm out there. And whenever he sees an opportunity like this, relentless aggression.
It's aggressive but safe, isn't it? Like, he's not hitting it anywhere near lines. So that's a half a meter from both of them there. It's just brute strength. That's power that's beating his opponent. I really like the service motion of Cobolli. It's fluid, it's loose, got really great shape, but at the moment it's only got one shape. And we spoke about this against Humbert. He's really lacking on this surface the ability to cut a ball wide here on this forehand court. So he goes there then, but it doesn't slide away. And so it becomes quite easy for the returner to get used to it. So it's like he's grown up on the clay. He's thrown the kicking shape serve in to then try to get to his left to use the forehand. But that is an element he's going to have to add to his game on a hard court to get more success and change things up against an opponent like Machac.
A real let-off there for Machac. Could have had 15-40 quite easily. And in the opening match, the women's match, Paolini was getting outplayed by Machova's all-court prowess. This is just a matter of, feels like a heavyweight versus a middleweight, where the speed of shot, there's a huge difference right now between these two players favoring the Czechs. That's a nice one. Unloads on his forehand, because we know when he has time on the ball, Cobolli can crank it. Machac just hasn't given him much, so that one, a cool 1-5-1. That'll get the job done.
Individual brilliance in the opening set from Machac, but you're just getting a sense here they're combining to make this a great contest in the second. It is 2-1 to Team Italy. Well, tennis doesn't always teach you character, but it certainly shows you it. And Cobolli has reacted well to some immense adversity in that opening set. You come out here with a blank sheet of paper feeling as though something's going to work, and then you get blown off the court like that. It's tough to sometimes keep your optimism, but he's done a nice job there in this opening 3 games. And it's rare that you would go through a match if you're Tomas Machac without giving up any opportunities for some chances here for Cobolli. So the longer he can stay out here, you kind of feel as though he is going to get a little chance for his nation. He's got a lot on his plate right now, Cobolli. His dad's in his ear. Vincenzo Santapadre and Stefano actually operate the Rome Tennis Academy. That was where he grew up after moving from Florence when he was just 1 year old, combining a little bit of tennis and soccer throughout his early years before focusing on this. But Machac has been an unbelievable front runner in recent times. Won his last 12 ATP matches when he won the opening set. Last time he lost actually was in Umag in July. Thiago Monteiro, the only other couple of times in the entire season he lost was against Rinki Hijikata in Brisbane in a final set breaker, and Bublik in Dubai. He was 28-3 last year.
Frustration from Cobolli, but a clear change of concept. He had a good long chat with his father. It was one-way traffic. His dad, his coach Stefano, was in his ear, Cobolli, on the change of ends, and you can see the return to serve position changed dramatically at that opening point. He was extremely deep to receive the first one. He faked that he was going to be close in the second and then ran back. They're rifling through playbook options right now, just trying to do something to get under the skin of Tomas Machac. There's his dad with the cap, stroking the beard in the front row. Enzo Furlan, the captain. And Cobolli, again, questioning the veracity of the line call. Nothing you can do to challenge it, though. You just have to move on with it, even if you don't agree with it.
Isn't
this where some of the great competitors of our time would have started arguing against the electronic line calling, trying to create a bit of chaos, bit of carnage out there just to try and upset the equilibrium that this man has. He is sailing through service games. Untouchable.
Well, that begs an interesting question, though, Petch, doesn't it? Just should you have an argue anyway?
Yeah.
Just to change up that rhythm?
I think there's a case for it, yes. Jim?
There's a long and rich history of players doing that. Arguing for the sake of argument, just to try and change the energy on the court.
Yeah.
I mean, how good is he on the stretch?
It's again underscoring the influence of Novak Djokovic and what flexibility and the ability to slide into shots is doing for players from, you know, this new generation trying to create defense, offense from defense. If you can get into the corners with the split, you're going to get more chances to do that.
That's kind of layering that forehand, though, isn't it? Or is he really doing that to try to get more power? What do you two think?
I think, to be honest, he had to do that because he had to try and catch it around waist height to generate that sort of pace.
Right, okay.
I think he just likes doing it, Todd.
Yeah, he does.
And he's good at it.
That's true. But if it... But there's been two of those balls tonight that he may have been able to dispatch without doing it, that he missed.
Whatever the case, I don't want him to stop doing it.
No,
it's a great visual.
This is true.
Once again, backing himself from an athleticism point of view that he was going to get back into court quickly enough. Didn't try and overplay the return, neutralized it with the ball through the middle. And it's an awkward evening for Cobolli, about to get even more difficult here. Couple of break points.
Let. Second service.
And not for the first time on game point down. The Italian offers up the double fault. Superb take in the crowd. But that won't be much solace for Team Italy as Czechia move ahead, a set and a break in the second of the night singles.
3 games to 2. Congratulations, Bolobius warning Team Italy.
And Todd, just no safe zones for Cobolli out here.
No, it's relentless pressure. And I'm just trying to think back, and then maybe you guys might, if it looks like he's going to win, so we can track these numbers down. But over the last 12 months, what the speed differential is off the ground for him, because it's certainly so much bigger than what it was, and he's become such a different player, Machac, than what he was. And yeah, it's really impressive. I mean, he's going to do some serious damage this year if he can keep this type of tennis up.
You guys know, have you heard any of the famous quotes from Yogi Berra, an American baseball player, really clever man?
Yes.
One of them is, it's getting late early, and that's kind of what it feels like right now. 43 minutes. This thing is a runaway train for the Czechs.
Better get in there quick if you want to see Tomas Machac, the way that he is running riot out here under the roof at the Ken Rosewell Arena. Ken Rosewell, one of the greats of the game. This man in front of us looking to create a little bit of a legacy for Czechia as he goes through his career. Just 24 years of age, but he is moving into his prime as he gets out of his end of the court in prime position, up a set and a break. Just sometimes the flare goes up on the tour and you get to see where somebody is, and we saw that in Shanghai with that win over Alcaraz after coming off that incredible match in Beijing against Sinner. A couple of wins against a very tricky American, Tommy Paul, on that Asian swing.
This match isn't done and dusted, but it's getting close to it. Well and truly under an hour. 44 minutes of play. One-way traffic here. Can Machac sprint to the finish line here and put Team Czechia into the semifinals? Team USA awaiting the winner of this one. Another semifinal tomorrow morning. It'll be Poland versus Kazakhstan. Rybakina, Swiatek. That's pretty strong. What do we got here, Petch, in the stance profile? Open stance, a little bit more than average for Machac. Closed stance, more than average as well.
It's the pace on the open.
That would be the backhand, I presume.
Yeah, I was going to say the open stance pace that's coming off. Say the good stuff's on the other side of being exhausted, and Machac has been talking about how exhausted he's been trying to fit in his pre-season throughout the course of this United Cup because of the sickness he picked up at the end of Paris Masters indoors. And there is some good stuff on show tonight. Both these two actually wrapped up their regular seasons with retirements. Against Alex de Minaur in Vienna, Cobolli with a right shoulder problem. Against Rinderknecht in Paris for Machac, he had an Achilles issue. But the man from Czechia does not have an Achilles heel in terms of his tennis.
Now 15.
We've seen the forehand, and now he's bringing the backhand to bear on top of it.
Nowhere to hide. Cobolli's trying to generate some space to work with that kick serve. Super deep for this return. Both of these players playing well here, obviously getting a lot of matches in their first tournament of the new season. They're both slated to play next week as well. Cobolli in the draw in Auckland. Machac going to Adelaide.
It's been all out assault when he's had a chance to get on top in the rally, but then there has been that beautiful defiance on defence from Machac, and that is the problem for Cobolli. Drop shot was the right shot, just couldn't execute it.
I'm just sitting here wondering, you know, how it's a complete indoor arena in here tonight. We do have a little gap at the top, and there's no breeze gets in really into them. Cobolli would love some wind or something, just to be able to do something different with the flight of the ball.
He'd like a rain delay, Todd.
Yes, something.
Can you get a hose out?
He needs ELC to go down right now. Somebody pull the power plug.
Just like
thinking, laugh. It's not a good feeling.
No.
Poor guy's just being overwhelmed. Machac is just on another level tonight, and it is closing time for the Czechs. A chance to get to the semifinals after the sit-down.
And you can trust me, boys, I have been on the receiving end of too many of those. So, yeah, I mean, for Cobolli, this will be a little bit of a tough evening in terms of just what's happened out here. I'm not even sure that he's going to feel as though he played badly. The fact that you have no impact in a match is what concerns you more than anything else. And that is a feeling, unfortunately, I have had.
Yeah, I've had it too, Petch, and that's why I mentioned the indoor-outdoor, because there was a lot of players that I played against that just could overpower me on these sorts of arenas when it was perfect conditions. But you know, when the conditions got a little tougher, I could use breeze, I could hold the ball up or something, then you had a chance. And I feel that's how Cobolli can play too. He'll flight the ball up into the wind, flatten it out, and that type of thing. But he's just got no answers here for the sheer force and power.
Well, there is the roof above, which Todd has been talking about, that perhaps it just made conditions absolutely perfect for Machac. As we hear "Take Me Home," he is about to take Czechia, is this man, into the semi-finals to take on Team USA tomorrow. Virtuoso performance. For Cobolli, if it does end here, it's not going to be just dinner on the table tonight. It's going to be a plate of truth that he has got a long way to go to match somebody when they are right at the pinnacle of their powers. Did find the backhand and still found himself behind the 8 ball.
I find myself in a state of shock, quite frankly, at the scoreline, and not just this match. 6-1, 5-2, 2 points away from closing the door. Machova beating Yasmin Paolini, twice a finalist in a major in 2024. She got throttled 2-2. And this is insanely impressive from the Czechs. They have steamrolled Italy on the singles court so far tonight.
Love this sport because of the juxtaposition of the brutal physicality at times, but also just the art form that can allow players like Machac to shine, and he has tonight. He has shown us everything that is beautiful about tennis. It's been too much for Cobolli. He's a rare talent as he takes Czechia into the semi-finals of the United Cup. Stunning. That is as good as it gets.